What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Very happy to have you guys here. It's sunny, it's 70 degrees, and we're back to beating up guns. Our victim today is this Benelli. This is a Panzer M4 Speed. This is their clone of the Benelli M4. You know, obviously the Benelli M4, a fabulous reputation, very durable, very reliable, but it is pricey. And when you can get this right here for like $400, $500, $600, depending on what model you buy, it is a you know, it's very tempting. And I've done several reviews of this this shotgun already. And it has been incredibly reliable, as most other people say that it is reliable. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you how reliable it is by shooting this incredibly low-powered birdshot out of it right here at the beginning of the video. This is just some federal target ammo. I think it's 1,200 feet per second. It is birdshot. It's not very powerful at all. And if you you load this stuff up, you can pretty much just mag dump with it. No, it'll hold the mag open. It's not a big deal at all. But today, we're going to see if this gun can withstand like combat conditions. Can it withstand being dropped? Can it withstand sand? Because, you know, there's probably no way that a Marine would ever have one of these in sandy conditions like the Middle East or something. That's just probably outside the realm of possibility. We're going to see how it does in water, if you would happen to have this underwater for whatever reason. And we're going to see what would happen if this got muddy, like, you know, you dropped it in a road that had ruts all over it. And for that, I hope you guys can like this video and subscribe down below. And we're going to get right into it. Let me jump off camera here for a sec to show you what ammunition that we are going to be using. We're going to use this this Captor. This is also from Turkey. This is double-aught buck. These are all 2 3/4 shells. They say they are 1,360 feet per second. And I think that that's going to give us enough power to give us a reliable gauge on, you know, how this thing actually works. And so for the first test we have here, we're sitting on our stand, and our stand is actually about 9 feet off of the ground. And so it has a pretty solid drop, especially if you give it a little bit of a toss. And so we're going to load this thing up with all of its to its maximum mag capacity. We're not going to ghost load it or anything like that. And then once we have that completely you know, loaded up here, we're just going to go ahead and have the safety on and just give this shotgun a toss right off of the edge there, and we'll go down and see if anything broke and if it still works. So here we have it right here. It looks like it landed barrel down. As you can see, it's all kind of clogged up with stuff. The sight is filled with dirt. Everything else looks like it's okay. I was actually sort of concerned about this this stock, if it was strong enough to withstand an impact of, like I said, that was 9 feet from up there, and when you toss it with the downhill, it might be 10 or 12 feet. But we do have the barrel filled with mud, and as much as I, you know, throw caution to the wind a lot of times on YouTube, we're not going to shoot it like that. So we're going to go ahead and clean this out. We're going to just eject that shell that was in there so that the chamber is clear. And just kind of give this a quick clean out. And that seems to do it. We'll pull this mud off of there, and then we'll see if this thing works, which I assume it does. It wasn't that hard of a fall, and the ground today is pretty soft. We're, you know, right here in March, so the ground is still pretty soft from the winter time. Load a new shell in there, and then we'll see if this thing rips after being dropped 10 feet. It'd be help if I took the safety off, and it appears to work just fine. So dropping it from 10 feet, no problem for the Panzer M4 Benelli shotgun. So next up we have sand, and sand is typically the one that jams these guns up worse than anything else. We do this before we get it wet, so it's not kind of getting stuck in there at various tests, and so we can get this as a more accurate test for this. And some guns have done better than others. The AR-15 actually did really well with it being able to seal up with the dust cover. AK-47 did okay. A lot of the pistols did okay. This one, I'm not sure how it's going to go because there is no dust cover, and there is a lot of open areas on this thing. Again, we have it fully loaded. There's one in the chamber, the safety is on, and we have 5 in the magazine tube. Let's just try out first with a light coating of sand so that we can see what this would be like if you maybe dropped it on the ground or something. So we'll put it here over our sand pit, our sand bucket, which we apparently have like 19 cups in. And we'll just kind of give this a very light dusting, like if you would maybe drop it on the ground. Shake that off. We know that there's none in the barrel since we didn't put any in the barrel. I'll get my hearing protection on here, and we'll see if this thing will cycle after being exposed to a light amount of sand. So, safety off. To have any problems with that at all, and that is locked fully forward right now, so that is pretty impressive just right there. Got her back on safe. Let's actually give it a full sand bath like we've done in all of our other videos, and that involves really caking it on there, and a lot of it just goes straight through the gun. That's kind of neat. Flip it over here. You can see, I would hope you can see on the GoPro that the insides of this are just absolutely caked full of sand, and we'll see if this has the guts to essentially get over all that. It's getting a little bit crunchy there on the safety. Let's see if this will cycle completely filled with sand, basically. And there we have a failure to fully extract and cycle back, and this is pretty common. I wouldn't expect anything different. And it's not even pushing the bolt forward right now. So I imagine that there's some sand down in there that's not able to let that go all the way forward. I think we're all the way in battery. Let's give it a shot. Nope. And the tube release here to release another round is also not working because I think the elevator is not all the way down. So right there, we have a pretty solid failure, and I think at this point you would have to take it apart to completely disassemble it. So right now, this thing is done. Like, it has absolutely no spring tension whatsoever, and we're gonna try to give it a, what I like to call a Kentucky clean out, where we pretty much just put it in the water and see if that works, because normally this is a toolless disassembly rifle or shotgun until you put this pick rail on here. This has an Allen key that you have to unscrew in order to separate the barrel from the magazine tube and the rest of it. And I don't have that with me, so you can't do it. And that's something that you may want to take into consideration. So this is how we've cleaned out a bunch of guns before. We basically just put them in the water and let the water kind of do its thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We're finally back. Sand completely wrecked this thing. It totally shut down the whole operation, which isn't to be unexpected given the amount of sand that we put in it and the fact that these are essentially totally open with no way to stop sand from going in it. As a matter of fact, the only gun that's really done well in this test is the AR-15, if you can believe it, with the dust cover closed, just because the tolerances are so tight, and that keeps it pretty much isolated from anything getting in, and it does really well. But if you open up the dust cover, it does about the same as this. The biggest thing that I found was being able to take this thing completely apart, because we had to totally field strip this. The sand really affected the trigger group more than probably anything else, other than the mag buffer thing or the mag spring in there. And everything on this gun is toolless except for this guy, this little pick rail section that was attached up here. If you don't have a Allen key for it, it totally negates the toollessness of this entire gun. I was able to get this out with using a Phillips head screwdriver just jammed in there. So if you want to maintain your toolless takedown of this thing, throw that away as soon as you can, because it's just not worth, I think, having something like that versus being able to actually just shoot the thing. So we have everything put back together. We've used enough break free to probably cause an EPA accident, and we're going to try this thing out again with these low powered shells. These Federal Target birdshot. They're you know, wimpiest shells that you can really buy. We're going to give those a shot. See if they cycle. They did up at the top, but we'll, you know, do it in front of you so that you have the proof in the pudding. Let's give it a shot. I'll turn the safety off. That will help. And we're back to full operation. So after spending an hour cleaning it up, let's go dunk it in the mud and see what that does. What if we were to have this underwater and come out and try to shoot it? That's tactical shotgun. It is a possibility. I've got 5 of those same double-aught bucks that we've been using all day. We're gonna toss this in, let it fill up, and then pull it out, make sure that it's drained, and then see if it will run. And the way I like to do that is just to do this. Sometimes the end of the barrel hits a rock underground, out under the water. That's the way it goes. But pick it back up. Make sure that the barrel's empty. Put a round on the elevator. And let's see if I can get you guys in frame and also not be in the water and see if this thing works. Looks like you can put it underwater and it works just fine. So we're down here at one of my favorite mud holes, and it's actually pretty dry. It's been pretty dry the entire time, but it's still that just Kentucky clay, sticky mud. It is nasty, and we're gonna see what it does to this Panzer M4. So we have that same, again, double-aught buck that we have in there. We got 5 in the mag here, none loaded right now. Let's just see how it goes. We'll just plop it in there. And, oh, look at it, it's like glue. And we'll do it again on the other side. And really, that shouldn't do much to it, I don't think. Let's see if it will cycle, which I don't think it's going to have any problems doing. Take the safety off. And yeah, that's no problem. Out of the compensator here, you're definitely getting a ton of debris flying away, so it flies away just fine. Now we're not going to be able to get this in the mud because it's just too dry here, so we're going to have to bring the mud to the gun. So if we just get ourselves a handful of this, we can plop it right there on the action. Do the same on the other side, and then let's see, get some there on the elevator, and we'll see if that works. We should still have one in the chamber, I think. We will find out. I would assume it will at least fire that one, but will it fire another one after that? I don't have any idea. Let's give it a shot. And right there we got a stovepipe jam where I assume it can't get out of the chamber, and then the elevator stuck as well. Let's see if this will push this one forward. It won't. There we go. We are in action. And let's give it a shot. It ejected, jammed again. We've got mud there, and it just needs a little bit of help forward. We'll keep going with the rest of this magazine. Same situation. Elevator won't elevate it, but it will shut it eventually. And we are out. It did lock the bolt back, so that is good. And this may be a crazy amount of mud on here. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go down and we will clean this thing up just in the water real quick and see if that remedies our issues. So we got it washed down in the water, and really all we did with that was I just dunked it underwater just like we did before, cycled this a bunch of times, and that pretty much cleared up everything as far as I can tell. I haven't shot it yet. I did load 5 more of those double-aught bucks in the magazine, so let's see if this thing will run after being exposed to that awful Kentucky mud. Let's see if we can get the whole mag without a stoppage. Too much to ask, but not really in my opinion. So we had 1 stoppage there, 2, and then the rest of them went no problem. The bolt held open, everything worked. So I imagine that we just got something hung up in there real quick. And so I get a lot of people ask me when I do these videos, why would you do this? No one would ever use their gun like that, and it's probably right. The thing that I'm looking for is not, you know, what it was designed to do. I want to see what it can do. And in this case, we were able to run this gun all day long. We threw it off a building, we filled it with sand, we picked it up out of the water and shot it. We shot it after it had been dropped in mud and then also covered in mud. And every time we were able to get the gun running again. And in the case of like sand, we did have to completely disassemble it, but all we needed once we took this stupid pick rail thing off was still water, lubrication, and rags just to clean all that stuff out of there and just work the action a few times. And I think that that goes a long way to the reliability and the durability of the M4 and, you know, the Panzer M4 that you can get for $400 to $600 versus like the $2,000 for the real thing. And it seems to be working really well. You know, the bolt hold open works, the bolt release works, the I don't know what they call this, but the release for the mag tube works just fine. And I think at the end of the day, that is going to be a win. Any of these tests where you have a lot of debris, a lot of stuff that wants to get in the gun is going to be horribly hard for a gun that has this many openings where you can see straight through it, straight up the bottom there, for that to survive without having, you know, major issues like we did today. So I think that being able to just be able to clear it in the field, out here we're just in the woods, there's really nothing around, so to be able to clear it in the field, get the thing running again reliably with all the different intricacies of this, I think says a lot about the M4. The thing that we had the most problems with was in the sand. Of course, it's bad for any gun, but in the trigger group. The trigger group was really affected by that. There's a lot of small moving parts in there, and that got really gummed up with sand and such. So guys, if you like this, hit that like button, subscribe. Stick around. We can redo the M4 M16 AR-15 versus the AK-47 again. The AR is the one that did by far the best in all of these tests, as long as that dust cover was closed as it was intended to be used for by Eugene Stoner. Just really keeps everything out of it. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. I'll see you in the next one.